Please welcome to the stage your host.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. It's good to see you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. As you guys know, I am your host, James, and this is the third annual Tu-Vie podcast countdown to the Academy Oscar nomination predictions. Now, that's a bit of a tongue twister, but the whole point is that this is our third annual Oscar predictions episode, and we are so excited. As you guys know, I am your host, James, and this is your TV movie entertainment news podcast. We got a lot of stuff to cover, so let's get into it. The Oscars, the Super Bowl for moviegoers. And trust me, there is no bigger event for us movie nerds than this Sunday. And to those who are not big into movies and who are friends with movie nerds, we're sorry. We are sorry on how much we're going to be talking about the Oscars the day before, the day of, and the day after. Just kind of comes with it. You know, even though I am sick, I do want to cover still all this stuff, and we have so much stuff to cover, as this is the 96th Oscars for the Academy Awards, and this is our third annual episode. This has been my favorite episode to record. That's why I got my hair all nice. I bought the nicest suit I could find. So we wanted to make sure we go all out to the nines for this episode. Before we get to the predictions part of the episode, we want to cover some stuff that are actually going to be happening in the Oscars and some new stuff that came up. Kicking it off, as always, with our host, our actual host for the Academy Awards. It's going to be Jimmy Kimmel. I think it's like his fourth or fifth time returning, which is great. I liked when he hosted. I've never had a bad vibe, even though there's been some stuff that happened while he was hosting. There's been an overall great, event. I do wish, though, when we get to the 100th Academy Awards, we do get a little bit, more, I would say, historic presenters. Maybe some people that's been around with Hollywood, like Steven Spielberg, maybe doing something like that. I don't know. But I feel like when it comes to the 100th in the next 4 years, they got to come out swinging. And with the returning host, we also have some new presenters for the upcoming awards. Presenters like Bad Bunny, Dwayne Johnson, Regina King, Octavia Spencer, John Mulaney, Mahershala Ali, Nicolas Cage, Jamie Lee Curtis, Ke Huy Quan, Al Pacino, Matthew McConaughey, and Zendaya, and many, many, many more. I'm very excited and curious to see who is going to be hosting what category. I do believe maybe Brendan Fraser is going to be doing Best Actor, as that's what he won last year, and Ke Huy Quan for Best Supporting is what he won last year as well. And with the list of new presenters, we also have a new category starting in the 97th Oscars next year. That new category will be the Best Casting. That is going to be going into play in 2025. And as much as that is a great sign, those casting directors really put in so much effort to give you great casting, especially with The Last of Us 2 coming out with some knockout castings. It's good to see the Academy take these people that put in so much work to give us these movies that with these actors that represent these characters, and it's just so fine crafted. It's a very, not something you can really teach. It sometimes just takes just straight skill. Like people who go and find these people and say yeah, this would be a good choice for this movie. And then that person goes out and makes a historic character. So I call it like Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark. It's like that level of similarity is something that just takes such a fine craft. So I'm really glad that the Oscars are taking into consideration for this new category next year. But as much as this category is great as it is new, I do think they are missing a category that more than deserves to be a part of pretty much every award ever. And that award is the Best Stunt Award. And I know a lot of people think that, we would go to Tom Cruise all the time, but maybe just exclude those people like Tom Cruise and actually give the stunt people a chance to win the awards they put their lives on the line for a movie. Whether or not the movie does great or whatever, doesn't bake $1 billion, it doesn't matter. Those people go into the job expecting to get hurt or take a fall or whatever, and continuously do that throughout the day. So I think getting a nomination for them would be just a great start for the Academy to say, hey, we see you, and we'd like to present you an award for your outstanding work. And last but certainly not least, Ryan Gosling will be performing I'm Just Ken at this year's Oscars. So Ryan Gosling is officially performing I Am Just Ken at the Oscars this year, and I believe Billie Eilish is doing What Was I Made For as well. But personally, I wanted to see Ryan Gosling do I'm Just Ken because I love that moment in the movie. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to do it, especially that part where the Kens are doing the dance battle back and forth in a very Grease Lightning kind of way. But either way, I am so excited. Now let's get into what you guys are here for. Let's get into the predictions. So for how this is going to work, we're going to start with Best Adapted Screenplay and make our way to the top of Best Picture. For Best Adapted Screenplay, we have American Fiction, Poor Things, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. Personally, for this year's Oscars, I feel like anyone that is nominated for any of the categories could win and I would be totally happy. Now, do I want some people to win specific things? Yes. But if they don't, I think the person who will be winning them also earned that right to be there because everybody was on fire this last season. And it was so many great movies. It was great movies after great movies. So I feel like anyone who gets nominated, if they win, I will still be happy. But I still want my people to win. Who I'm picking, of course I do. My gut wants me to say Oppenheimer as best adapted screenplay, as that movie was so well done. But any of these movies could be winning, and I would be totally okay, as I literally just said. But the things I'm tied with is Poor Things, Zone of Interest, and Oppenheimer. And if I had to flip a coin for what I really think is going to win, I think it's going to be Oppenheimer because that's kind of just how the Oscars work. But would I love Poor Things and Zone of Interest and American Fiction to win and Barbie? If yeah, but I think excluding Barbie as that is a IP, not like a physical story, like like something that you can take from history, like Oppenheimer is for American Prometheus. I feel like those other four really take something that was in history and present it, and then Poor Things was just a brilliant story. So my gut says Oppenheimer, but I would love to see Poor Things. Best original screenplay. Best original screenplay is a great sweep. I didn't really get to see Maestro nor May December, but with Past Lives and Anatomy in a Fall and The Holdovers in my top three, all of those movies were fantastic. But I have to go with the movie that really affected me and I don't know why, but I just fell in love with this movie each time I rewatched it. And I've seen it like 10 or 11 times, I think, and it's The Holdovers. It is such a great, great movie. Truly, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, as well as Past Lives. That was my second guess. I really did like that movie. That was a really well told story through so many like turns in a singular movie that where you see these progression of these characters flow through each other, and it's a great story. But The Holdovers, I gotta give it to that. I'm sorry, it's a great movie. Best original song. So for best original song, I personally want to see Killers of the Flower Moon win. I want to see that song, a song for my people, win. That is a great song. But I feel like with the TikTok trends and how much it was played everywhere, I'm afraid that What Was I Made For may get the win because of the popularity vote of it. But is it a bad song? No. But I feel like Killers of the Flower Moon was just a better one. Knowing with this story and seeing it play through in the weight of that song in that movie and outside of the movie, just knowing the story is incredible. Like the way that Martin Scorsese told this tragedy through the people in Lily Gladstone. We're gonna get to her when we get to Best Actress. It's just a powerful song, and I really want that one to win. But I'm afraid that they're gonna go for the TikTok vote. It was interesting to see The Fire Inside go into this nomination, even though Spider-Verse had plenty of great songs like "Am I Dreaming," "Mona Lisa," "Hummingbird." There's so many great songs it could have done, and I'm just surprised to see Flamin' Hot get the vote. Best original score. So the original score it's a tough one. It really is because we have so many great composers in this list. We have Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer. We have Robbie Robertson for Kills of the Flower Moon. John Williams, the legendary John Williams, for the Indiana Jones movie. And then we have Driskin Fendrix for Poor Things and Laura Cartman for American Fiction. All of those soundtracks were awesome. They were beautiful. But I got to give it to Oppenheimer, tied with Kills of the Flower Moon. Those really just go neck and neck. I hear one part of Oppenheimer, then I hear the other part of Kills of the Flower Moon, and I switch my votes so often with this one because both of those were beautiful. So if the Oscars for some reason can give 2 Oscars that night for Killers and Oppenheimer, I would love that. That would be awesome. Best animated feature. But before we get to the actual predictions part of it, I really want to go over Robot Dreams. So before I give my predictions, I do want to cover one movie that may be confusing because it took me a while to kind of just get the whole timeline of this. So let me clarify. So one of the nominations on there is called Robot Dreams. It is an animated movie, and it originally it made its like premiere at the Cannes Festival last year. So the movie already opened up in Spain and in France, as I believe it is a Spanish original movie. Like I think it was like the movie was made in Spain, and it briefly had a 1 week release in the US, I think, to qualify for the Oscars. But its official theatrical release for the US is going to be coming by the end of May of this year. So, and it kind of took me a little while to understand like why it was nominated because I didn't know, and I never even heard of the movie. I didn't see a trailer. So I wanted to, do some research and figure out that, it was released abroad, and now it's coming into the US by the end of the month. And I heard it's a great movie. I'd love to watch it, but that kind of clarifies the possible confusion. So I can't say that I am going to be betting on Robot Dreams. I've never heard of it, but I do hope if it gets a win that it's great. It's a well-deserved animated movie. It's, I'm not going to say it doesn't deserve a win. I just don't know anything about it, so I can't give my predictions on it. But with that being said, I feel like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is going to be getting the win this year, as the previous movie, Into the Spider-Verse, won Best Animated Picture. But at the same time, I am also knowing that The Boy and the Heron, which is a Miyazaki movie, is on this list. So that one's a tough choice. Because The Boy and the Heron, I actually haven't seen that one yet. I've been wanting to get to it. I missed my chances in the theaters, but it's a Miyazaki movie. I mean, it's kind of hard to not say that that's not a good movie. Just even from the trailers, it looked great. So I feel like, Spider-Man or The Boy and the Heron could really win. And I would, like I said, for many of these other ones, will be extremely happy. Personally, also in the back of my mind, I want Elemental to get the win because I love Elemental. It is a great movie. And my girlfriend and I, we fell in love with this movie. We went into it. I was excited for it. She was a little hesitant, but we both left just changed. It was such a beautiful movie. If you haven't seen it, I really would recommend giving it the chance. Don't listen to the people. Take your time and make your own opinion on this movie. It is a great movie. And on that list, as well as Nimona, which has had quite the story, as I believe it was going to be like done by Disney, and then they got rid of it, and then it was done by Netflix. Like Netflix released it, and then they gave it to YouTube for free, and then YouTube took it off, but it's still on Netflix. So I don't know what they're doing, but it's weird. But to finalize my vote, I believe it's going to either go to The Boy and the Heron or Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Both are fantastic movies. Best directing: Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese. Now, Christopher Nolan, Justine Triet, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Jonathan Glazer. But all four of those people made beautiful movies. They did great, great, great work, especially Yorgos with the way the sets were looking for Poor Things. I was enthralled by that look. But I feel like it's gonna go to Martin because it's the Oscars. They're trying to like give him the Oscars they didn't give him for the other movies he's made. But at the same time, Nolan, I believe, deserves an Oscar. I don't think he's won an Oscar for his stuff yet, has he? I don't think so. Sorry, let me rephrase. He does have 11 Oscar wins for his movies, but he himself, as best director, has not won. So that's what I'm trying to talk about. I would love to see Christopher Nolan win the Oscar for Oppenheimer. I would love Martin Scorsese to get it for Killers. I'd love any of these people to get the Oscar for their movies, as those movies were beautiful in just the cinematic way, where the stories were often very tragic, but the way they portrayed these characters in the story was really, 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 really well done. So it, I'm a loss for words for this one because I really don't know what to pick. I'm betting they're gonna go for Scorsese because it's Scorsese, and I would love Nolan to get the win. But truly, this is a hard one for me to decide. So I'm just gonna stick with what I've said. Best cinematography. It's probably gonna go to Oppenheimer. Probably. It probably will. All these nominations that I'm showing you right now are great, great movies. I have not seen El Conde, but I know Poor Things had beautiful cinematography. I know Maestro was good looking, but Oppenheimer and Killers had just stunning visuals. But I mean, really, yeah, it's probably gonna go to Oppenheimer. I just remember the feeling of sitting in that movie theater, just in awe of what I was seeing, just by surprise, and the fact that it's all done very real. Like, there's no CGI. And I know that Martin Scorsese doesn't use CGI because he doesn't really have to for a lot of his stuff. But the fact that Christopher Nolan did these things practically, it just it's historic. I never forget what I felt like when I was leaving Oppenheimer. So it'll probably go to Oppenheimer. I'd love to see Killers and Poor Things, but it'll probably go there. Best visual effects: Godzilla minus one. There's no way. There's no way Godzilla minus one does not win this. The creator was really cool, combining that CGI characters with the robotic characters that we saw that looked really, really well done. The effects were beautiful, but it's Godzilla minus one with a like $10,000 budget, I think, something like that, made this incredible movie. I haven't seen Napoleon. I haven't heard good things. I did see Mission Impossible. It was good. It was a good Mission Impossible movie, but I just didn't feel like that one had enough visual effects to beat those other three. And Guardians of the Galaxy was awesome. It was awesome. I loved it. It was one of my favorite Marvel movies that came out. It's my favorite group, my favorite Marvel characters. But Godzilla minus one. Enough said. Now we are down to what I call the Fateful Five. The five awards that will be historic and that are very hard to just nail down the guess for, except a few of them. But any one of these people can win, and I would totally be happy. Let's get into them. Best Supporting Actress. I would love to see Divine Joy Randolph get the Holdovers win. Divine was divine in the Holdovers movie. She gave such a powerful performance with her physicality of feeling the loss for her son in this movie, and I couldn't help but really just want to help that character. Like, she brought out all the emotions you needed to feel for this character perfectly time and time again. And she was just a great character in that movie that I hold dearly. Emily Blunt was awesome in Oppenheimer. Whatever scene she was in, she stole it 1000%. And I feel like those two are fighting neck and neck for this Oscar. I really do. America Ferrera, here on the podcast, we have just thought she is delightful, and she is. It's great. She's America Ferrera. I love the actress, and I think her performance in Barbie was great. But competing with Emily Blunt and Divine Joy Randolph in this movie is really hard to compare, because Barbie was fun and she gave that monologue perfectly, and everybody in that theater was affected by it because they felt seen, and it was a great way to portray the struggles, and she just was a great character. But it's two different movies that we're comparing these two. I also haven't seen the new The Color Purple movie with Danielle Brooks, but I like Danielle Brooks. She was really great in Peacemaker, and she's done some other great stuff, and I have no doubt she did great in that movie. But the two that I'm putting all my chips in for are Emily Blunt and Divine Joy Randolph. Best Supporting Actor. I'd like to say it's Robert Downey Jr. I really, really would. The guy has fought tooth and nail to go from where he was to where he currently is. I know that him doing Oppenheimer was kind of showing the rest of the world, hey, I'm not just a comic book character, which is great. And he did such a great job. But also at the same time that we also have Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon. Kind of feels like they're just going to be giving it to him. But I love everybody in this nomination, with Sterling K. Brown and Ryan Gosling and Mark Ruffalo. All of those people gave great performances. Ryan Gosling was very, very funny in Barbie as Ken. I always found myself laughing at his jokes because I thought they were just really well delivered. Ryan has great comedic effect and everything. But Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, I heard, was incredible. I heard that he really just helped carry the weight of this film. And Mark Ruffalo was a fun character to see in Poor Things. But I feel like it's got to be Robert Downey Jr. The guy has worked so hard. I feel like he has deserved the win. But also the character he was portraying in Oppenheimer was really, really well done. But I would love to also see it go to Sterling K. Brown. Best Actress, Lily Gladstone. Lily Glad freaking Stone. Wow. What a winning career she's had so far. She has, I think, won every award she's been nominated for. I think, like, she's been sweeping. And the performance she gives in Killers of the Flower Moon, incredible. I really do feel like not giving her the win on this is insane. The woman nominated, most likely to win an Oscar, is most likely to win the Oscar, which is kind of cool to see that superlative go into fruition. But also, she earned it. She put in 110% into this movie, because it was just, come on, man. It's obvious. There's nothing I have to convince you of. It's Lily Gladstone. Emma Stone was great as Bella in Poor Things, but I can't justify any other person other than Lily Gladstone for this nomination and this win. She's gonna get it. So help me God. Best Actor. My Holdovers love wants me to say Paul Giamatti. Be really fun to see him get the nomination and the win, but I really feel like it could go to any one of these people. Haven't seen Maestro, so I'm not going to say Bradley Cooper, but Coleman Domingo, Jeffrey Wright, and Cillian Murphy for all the nominations for their movies would be awesome. It'll probably go to Cillian because he did such a great job with Oppenheimer. He carried the weight of that movie perfectly from start to finish. And I haven't seen Rustin, but I know Coleman Domingo is a great actor, and like there's been the rumor for Kang, and people have been actually showing support for that. But aside from the Kang stuff, Coleman Domingo seems like a great actor. And I unfortunately haven't seen the movie or a lot of his stuff that he's been in, but I saw some clips of Rustin, and he did a great job. And I like Jeffrey Wright a lot, so it'd be great to see him get the win for this movie. It was great seeing him take the lead in this movie, and I just like him as an actor as well. But just probably knowing how the Oscars and the Academy works, It'll probably go to Killian, but any of those other two with Coleman and Jeffrey would have been awesome. And now for possibly the toughest choice of this entire episode, Best Picture. Any one of these movies this year, and I still haven't seen Maestro, so I'm excluding that one in this conversation, is great. And I think it's such a tough choice because I want to say all of them. I really do. It's such a tough choice because these movies are awesome. These movies are great. They are great for various and hundreds of different reasons. And probably just knowing how the Oscars work, it'll either go to Oppenheimer or Killers. But any of these movies that were nominated, besides Maestro, because I haven't seen it, are great. They are great. And I think having this many of a variety of different stories and the way that they were made and the cast and the crew behind them is great to see. And I love the diversity we're seeing in these nominations. And it's really, really hard for me to say. So I think this might be the first year I don't have like an official win, like official pick for the Oscars. I know there's been ones in the past where there's been clear winners of what I think should win, but I really feel like besides Maestro, because I haven't seen it, any one of these can win. Barbie, maybe, like maybe not at the highest chance because it's competing against so many great movies like The Holdovers, and Killers, and Oppenheimer, and Poor Things, and Past Lives, and American Fiction, and that's literally all the other ones that I just you saw in the picture. But it's not like Barbie was terrible. I love Barbie. Probably gonna be watching it later tonight. It doesn't compare to what the stories and how the stories were told, competing with Killers and Oppenheimer, because those movies were heavy to watch, and Barbie was a great story and it taught a lot of great lessons. It's just kind of hard to compare those. So my first three that I think about are Oppenheimer, Killers, and Past Lives. Those movies have really brought 2023 into the awards season. And so I feel like those are the three I'm going to stick with. As for snubbing, Spider-Verse got snubbed for a lot of great stuff too. And I feel like, especially with Best Original Song or Best Score, they could have definitely gotten the nomination there. Not much else I really feel like went on with snubs this year because I feel like everything went smoothly for the nominations of the people that got the nominations for the specific categories. And I'm very curious to see what the nominations are going to be like for next year's category, which is Best Casting, which we talked about earlier. But I feel like this year's casting choices were good. Just Spider-Verse. And that'll about wrap it up for this year's episode of our Oscar predictions episode. It is quite a tough choice this year. Some easier than others, but definitely with the ones with the movies that made a huge impact, it was hard to really pick just one. The Oscars are this Sunday, so we are very excited for it. If you guys want to watch with us, I'm going to be posting some updated stuff on our Instagram, so go check us out on Instagram. We're going to be posting some new stuff on TikTok, so be sure to check us out there, but we have kind of more day-to-day stuff on TikTok. So check us out there. Also, be sure to check us out on Letterboxd. Sometimes we watch some movies that are going to be correlated to a future episode. So if you guys want to get ahead of the game, check us out on Letterboxd. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you are watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to follow us there. And if you guys didn't know, we post Q&As about the episode and the episode topics on Spotify. So be sure to go check it out there and answer some of the fun questions we got for you guys. Thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you guys next time.